Okay, if you're chasing sub-3, this video's for you. When you get close to sub-3, or you've ran the equivalent times, a lot of sub-3 marathon running isn't about talent, it's about execution. Most runners don't fall short because they didn't train hard enough, they fall short because they messed up on race day. In this video, I'm gonna give you the full race day playbook. We're gonna start smart, fuel like pros, finish fast and with purpose, and execute like it's your job. I'm Lee Grantham, a coach and a professional ultra runner who went from running a marathon in 4 hours and 25 minutes to running a marathon in 2 hours and 21 minutes, and representing my country at both the marathon and the ultra marathon. And what I learned along the way is it's very easy to be a great runner when all the stars are aligned. But it's performances like this when I ran 2 hours and 21, when the stars weren't aligned and things weren't perfect on race day, but I still executed. That's what I'm most proud about. I took 48 minutes off my marathon time in just 11 months. If you're looking to make similar gains, or at least take 10% off your current estimate, get in contact by booking a coaching call in the description. Here are 8 race day execution steps for a sub-3 marathon. Number 1, control the first 3 miles. This is so important to get right in order for you to run sub-3. You've got to be calm on the start line. And to be calm on the start line, it's got to be a familiar situation. It might not be a marathon, but if you've got race experience, it's really gonna help. But you wanna be as calm as possible. You want to be using as little energy as you possibly can in those first 3 miles, finding space on the road and getting into your rhythm. That is all that the first 2 to 3 miles are about. You've worked all this time, all these months, sacrificed so much in order to be here. Now you're gonna surge in order to catch the pacer. Think about it. It makes absolutely no sense other than it feels comforting to run next to somebody or a group that are all having the same objective. So you're gonna do all this work and then you're gonna rely on a volunteer. The best thing that you can do is be calm and get into your rhythm, get into your groove in those initial 2-3 miles and get into your own race. Forget about everybody else and forget about the chaos around you. Number 2, set yourself up for success. So position yourself in the start as well as you possibly can. If you're starting with the 4-hour guy or the 4:30 guy, it's gonna be a lot of weaving initially, and that's anxious, it's wasting energy, you panicking. You don't want to be in that situation. So you want to start as close to the time that you feel that you're gonna execute in that wave as you possibly can. You wanna start in a place that allows you to run and get into your rhythm as soon as possible, right from the start, right from the gun. Now, what that looks like in real life before you've even started, before the gun, is you've got to be firm and you've got to get past people. The best place to do that is at the side of the start. And then you can nice and easily get by the side. And if you're ready for that 2:59, position yourself with those people. But if you do end up starting back and there are slower runners in front of you, don't panic. Remember, calm. Get into your rhythm as soon as possible. If that means you losing 20 seconds per mile, 10 seconds per mile for the first couple of miles, it's nothing compared to what you will gain in the second half by not surging in those initial miles. Number 3, warm up with purpose. Now this is important because every race is gonna be slightly different. If it's New York Marathon, you're gonna be on the start line for a long time. And so when are you gonna warm up? Is it gonna be from your hotel, getting yourself loose and then stood still for an hour on the start? That's what it typically looks like. Exactly the same at London. And so you've got to do what you can on the spot. And so you've got to get used to that in your training runs. And the way that I would do that without detracting from priming yourself for your key sessions is on your long, slow distance, long runs. Get used to that. So for 5-10 minutes, just stand there as if you're packed in, turn on your glutes, get them firing, let them know that they're gonna do the majority of the work today. Exactly the same with the hamstrings. Are the quads nice and stretched? We can dynamically stretch them by bringing our knees up on the spot. You can calf raise a little bit. Don't overdo it because you've got 45 minutes stood still. And if you can sit down and save the legs, if you're packed in, even better. If you're at a smaller marathon, then your warm-up stays exactly the same as it has done throughout your key sessions. So exactly the same as when you're hitting an interval session or a specific long run, nothing changes, and so everything feels familiar. Now, if you're gradually getting to the start line after the gunner's gone and you're waiting to start and you still feel cold, don't be afraid to go slower in those first 2 to 3 miles. Let the heart rate naturally get to its point that you can hold for the entire race, and let the body warm up nice and slowly. So you're feeling the body moving over the ground. You're feeling the calves activating, the hamstrings activating, the glutes activating. You're starting to run and get into your rhythm. Really important. And often runners, if they run 3:10, 3:9, 3:7, 3:5, what they want to do is then go to a flat city marathon, something super flat like Berlin or Valencia or Sevilla. And that comes with the added travel, logistics, uncertainty, unknown, packed start lines. In actual fact, the best place for you to run a sub-3 is often somewhere that you can warm up almost right to the line so that everything stays the same or very similar to what you've done and practiced with in training. Number 4, nothing changes from the training. So we've practiced with our gel strategy or our sports drink strategy, and that is like clockwork in the race. So if you've practiced with a 25-gram gel every 20 minutes, that's what's happening. If we're taking a 40-gram gel every 30 minutes, again, like clockwork, that's what's happening. By now, people will have asked you, what do you think about when you're running? When you're trying to achieve something as big as a sub-3, you are entirely in the zone, focused, and therefore gels, nutrition, massive part of that. Getting to the drink station, being able to grab that drink, knowing what it's going to be, a bottle or a cup, what sports drink it's going to be, practicing with that in training, grabbing it, spending time with it, getting hydrated, you've got a job to do. And that job is made way easier by this being second nature because you've practiced with it so much in training. And it's not just practicing with it in training, it's then becoming a better trainer because you're able to execute higher quality sessions. I get approached all the time by guys who have run 3:03, 3:04 for the marathon and want to go 4 or 5 minutes quicker and run that 2:59. They're capable of so much more and run so much faster, but when they start to do simple things like that, it really just opens another world as to what they're capable of. Number 5, don't miss the drink stations. Again, you got a job to do. You got to focus. And therefore, part of that focus is you got to be hydrated along the way, and especially in the beginning. So if it's coming after 3 miles or 5K, you're ready for it, you're waiting, your head's up, you're looking, and guess what? The organizers might have put it 200 meters early or 200 meters late. It can be the most well-organized marathon in the world, but still, there will be flaws on race morning that will change things. Be ready for those changes. Be ready for those curveballs. Imagine getting to the end of your marathon and say, do you know what? I just hit the wall at 30, 33K. I was completely dehydrated. And it was because they moved the drink station before the start. Think about what we're trying to build here. We're not just building a sub-3 marathon runner. We're building somebody who is tasked with something that currently seems almost impossible, and we're executing it. That's the human being that we're building. And that human being doesn't make excuses about a missed water bottle. Number 6, patience. I like to split the race up like this. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's gonna get progressively more difficult. The perceived effort is gonna go up for the same pace. And the way that I like to split it is, I wanna get to halfway, and I wanna feel like the handbrake's on, and I've not yet get started, but I'm on pace. And then from 13 to 20 miles, there's a really important part there that a lot of people suffer with. It's kind of a lull. You've got past that excitement, the initial half. You're now working harder than what you were in the initial miles, but all of a sudden, maybe there's no fans around. The roads are a bit more quiet. There's less runners around because you've spaced out. That is the point that you've got to visualize before, and you've got to be ready to be hyper-focused in that moment. And it's all about you hitting pace. And in order for you to hit pace, you've got to be constantly checking, okay, am I hydrated? Am I picking up those bottles or cups? Am I taking my gels? How many gels have I taken? Do I have quick access to them? It's an ongoing check. Whatever you need to do at this point in order to break that up, I like to work with kilometer splits or 500 meter splits. And I just like to work, okay, I'm on check, I'm a second off. Okay, no need to accelerate, just need to get this next one right. And the big piece of advice here is run the mile that you're in. Don't be thinking too far ahead. What has gone. How like life? Just run the mile that you're in. Number 7. And this is where most people fall short. This is where most people run that 302 or 303. We've got to get ready to dig in, and we're going to need to dig in. If you think that you're not going to have to, you're probably in the wrong sport. Even if you've paced this to perfection, you're going to empty out everything that you've got in order to run as fast as you possibly can. But it's not flipping a switch. It's not all of a sudden mile 20 or 33 kilometers, you're going for it, because 6 miles is a long way to run. So if you've paced it well and we've got something to give here, yeah, we can accelerate. But just remember how the body is feeling at that point. Perceived effort is way more than what it was in the first 6 miles. But if we fueled it well and we're hydrated, then we're setting ourselves up for success at this point, and it's now time to execute. It's time to remember all that training, all those cold, dark mornings. What I like to do at this point is accelerate by 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds per mile, no more than that. Just a gradual acceleration to see if we've got anything more to give. But remember, you're going to start using the body in a slightly different way when everything is much harder than that initial 6 miles. And so if we go too soon, we could derail our race. And this is the beautiful part of a marathon. You've got that point where you can drop the hammer and go. I wouldn't go too early, like 6 miles to go. And it's coming right at the point where most people around you have hit that psychological barrier at 20 miles, and in kilometers, it happens at the round figure of 30 kilometers. That is not you, because you are more than prepared for this moment. You know you're gonna get to 20 miles. You know you're gonna get to 30 kilometers. And therefore, it's about you really digging in and giving everything you possibly can to either hold pace, increase pace, or if you're slowing, keep it together as much as you possibly can. And think about it logically now. If we lose 10 seconds per mile for the next 6 miles, we've lost a minute. If we gain 10 seconds per mile for an exponentially more effort, then we've gained a minute. Ask yourself about the risk reward there. Now, if you've paced it well and you've gone out and it's steady, the handbrake's on, you're focused in that middle bit, which is 13 miles to 20 miles, and now you've got it. Now you're hunting, and you're in such a good place because they're dropping like flies. So you've got targets to hit and keep catching. It's a great place to be, extremely motivating. You can make up a lot of time in that final 6 miles. There has been times in marathons where I've emptied the tank in the second half and I've crossed the finish line in a personal best, but I've known within 2-3 minutes that I could have run faster in the first half. That's a better place to be in than fighting a war of attrition in that final 6 miles. And think about it. Not anybody else, maybe your partner, nobody else cares about that 2:59, just you. Number 8, close with precision. Now, if we've paced this properly, we're gonna have a minute difference, a minute negative split in that second half. Don't fall into that trap of, oh, the course was a little bit longer. Again, we're training to be the type of human being that doesn't make excuses because the course was 42.6 kilometers or 26.4 miles. We're the person who got it done anyway and ran that sub-3. And so in order to remove that doubt, what we're aiming for in the first half is 1:29. And we're aiming to close a minute quicker in 1:28. And in order to do that, and this is incredibly important, in order to do that, we've got to have practiced that pace in training. You've created this incredible athlete, this person who is capable of running 2:57 to 2:59. Don't be that brilliant trainer who fails to execute on race day. Make sure you're the person that is calm on the start. First 3 miles, well under my control. I'm into my rhythm, picking up my drinks, taking my gels, nothing has changed from training, and I'm ready to be calm in that first half. I'm ready to be focused in that next part, and then I'm ready, and I'm really ready to dig in that final 6 miles. If you can do that, then you're creating something much more powerful than a 2:59 marathon runner. You're creating an exceptional human being. If you want a great workout to do to make sure that you're on track for that 2:59 or less, then this video here is for you.